Yes, 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 yo. To the vibe coding, yo. Code and deploy anything with AI, yo. This is Tim Chucker, Air Operator, coming in live in a second. All right. Yes. I think we are live. This is going to be, as you can see on the screen, vibe coding, code and deploy anything with AI. Let me get to the screen so that I can say hello. All right, let's make sure that we are live. Hello, everybody. Don't forget we have a chat, we have comments all ready to go. So make sure to tell us where you're connecting from. What are you excited about today? What do you want to see? Right? Because this is all about your sessions, guys. I'm not doing this, for my. I mean, I have fun as well. Let's be honest, right? But I'm doing it so that you guys can get value out of it. So let me know if there's anything special you want to see, right? If you want to see something special, if you want me to build something special, if you had something in your mind, if you wanted to ask any question about vibe coding, right? Anything like that, we're all up for it. I'm up for everything, right? This is why I love it. All right, Sarah from Bloomington, Indiana. I know Sarah really well. Hello, Sarah. Right, awesome. Andrea said, "Welcome everyone. Our marketing at AI Operator is welcoming people. Today is going to be very interesting because we're just going to have some vibe coding. So invite your friends, invite your colleagues, share it on your LinkedIn, right? I should do that as well, right? Let's make sure that we get a bit of a community here, right? We had a couple sessions with quite good engagement. I know maybe it's not the right time. I don't know, right? Hopefully we can get people joining in because this is going to be really good stuff. I mean, I have so much fun vibe coding these days. I've been like spending hours and hours and hours. What is vibe coding though, right? I'm talking about this magical powers, right? I think they're like magical powers, let's be honest, right? Vibe coding is super cool. Why? Because it's basically giving powers to the ones who weren't computer scientists or developers or engineers, right? Computer engineers, giving powers to those that haven't done those studies and so on, to be able to build stuff, right? And I think that's really cool, right? So I've been building some really crazy stuff. So I'm going to show you what's my process, how I do it. I think I kind of nailed it down, right? Yes, my marketing just caught me that I don't have my Air Operator T-shirt, so maybe I'll do a quick clothes change at some point, right? But I don't know how we're gonna. Maybe when we're waiting for one of the tools, I'll do a quick clothes change. I forgot that. Sorry about that, marketing. Right. So I think I figured out the vibe coding process. I believe it's working really well for me, and I want to show you guys some of those cool tools. Right, and I think you're gonna like it. So I'm just doing a post to resharing this. We are live with vibe coding session. All right, so let's post that on my LinkedIn to get more people, right? And don't forget the chat. We're looking in it. So thank you, Sarah, again, and anyone else. Tell us where you are if you want to see something. If you have any questions, don't hesitate. Get active on those comments. That helps a ton, right? It gives us a great energy boost. Even if I've been sick all week, I'm here just to make sure that you get great value out of our vibe coding session. All right, cool. So what we'll do is I'll kind of walk you through a little bit of the tools that I use then, right? And I'm logged in most of them, so you're not going to see their kind of landing pages, their websites, but you're going to see the tools themselves. But again, vibe coding is basically giving into the vibes of the AI coding the tool, right? So the AI is coding, and you're just giving into the vibes. Vibe coding was by was it Andre Carpati, or I think it was him that explained the term, and he joked it was a tweet I think that he did, and then an X tweet or whatever you call it nowadays. And then everybody was like, "Wow, this is the term, right?" So it became a massive term. It became a whole industry almost now, vibe coding. And I was watching his Y Combinator public speaking thing, right? His event, and he's like, he never expected that a tweet would go this viral and that people will create a whole, term and industry around his tweets, basically, right? So So us now, we are vibe coders, right? And we can build a lot of cool stuff. So today we're going to actually build a tool that we're going to use in our business, right? So we're going to build an AI training ROI calculator. It's going to be like a lead generation machine, right? Where people can go in, put some details, and then see what would be the return on investment that they would get from a AI training program, something like that, right? So there's no nothing set in stone. We just have fun. Okay, cool. So here is my Replit. All right, so why Replit? Replit is a vibe coding tool, right? I love Replit because Replit it's almost like an all-in-one. Okay, it has a lot of things that helps us actually create the whole infrastructure, right? And you're gonna be like, yeah, but Tim, I'm not technical. I don't know all these things. You don't have to be. I'm not. But by with a bit of curiosity, with a bit of testing, with a bit of asking AI, I was able to figure all this out myself, and you can as well, right? So Replit, right? Replit.com, yeah, you can have a payment plan at $25 a month. It gives you certain credits. Just be careful. If you pass those credits, it can get quite expensive, but you can put some limits, some budget limits. Okay. And you can build a lot of this stuff on Replit itself, right? But I like to do a combination of these. Why? Because they all have strengths and weaknesses. So Replit is great because what you'll see now is going to create the whole infrastructure, is going to create the whole database structure as well, and it can create, even if you had needed any login and sign up and authorization, it can do all that stuff. It can create the whole front end, it creates the back end, it creates the whole application, what you see in the front, right? So the client facing and the server facing the back end, right? And it creates all that stuff, and it's really good. But then you're going to say, why don't you just use that? Because when it comes to really technical things, it can struggle a little bit, um, but it can build many uh, apps very quickly. Okay, so let's come in here and let's start this. But before that, we do have the option of improving prompts. So maybe we'll use that. Okay, so I'm going to say, build a mini web app for a AI ROI training calculator. Okay, so let's see what is going to understand. Okay, so build a mini web app for AI ROI training calculator, right? Maybe I don't like that. I'm going to do AI training ROI calculator. Right? That's a bit better. Okay, let's see. I'm just going to click improve prompt. I'm just curious about that. All right, so my prompt already got enhanced, right? A web-based AI training ROI calculator that helps businesses estimate the return on investment for their AI training initiatives and projects. That's cool. Core features: input form for training costs like personnel, infrastructure, tools, time. Calculate potential savings and revenue gains from AI implementation. Displays display ROI percentage and payback period, generate summary report of the investment analysis. That's cool. Okay. Oh, it does have inspired by Salesforce ROI calculators and HubSpot business tools. That's exactly I was thinking about HubSpot business tools because that's how HubSpot went quite big, right? They used these business tools. Darshan, hello. All the best for the video. Thank you very much. Glad you're here. So they're known for their professional and trustworthy financial calculation interfaces. This is cool. It's kind of gave it some colors. I might want to change those from the get go, right? Okay, let's just change those because I have already my colors. AIO blue, right? We have AIO orange, right? And we have AIO black. Oh, if I can write AIO black, and then I also have AIO whites, right? These are my business colors, my brand colors, right? Intel roboto fonts, form-based layout. That's cool. Well, I'm quite happy with this. I'm not gonna go into it, but what you could do, another thing that I do normally is I use ChatGPT, I use O3, and I create a PRD, a product requirement document, right? By creating a big PRD, a product requirement document, spending 15, 20 minutes in ChatGPT, you're gonna hash out all the little details that you need, right? But that's gonna make the build a little bit bigger. And today, just for the sake of it, I want to start something very quickly. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click this and I'm gonna send this out, right? Cool. Awesome. All right. All right. Cool. So I understand you want blah blah blah. It's making an implementation plan. As you can see, it's working. So it's gonna be quite cool because, as you can see, AI investment calculator, right? Giles from Edinburgh. Hello, that's cool. We have some Edinburgh people here. Awesome to see you here, Giles. Right, as you can see, it has an initial version that is working on. On the right side is already coding this. Okay, so what you'll see in a second is that we're gonna have something already looking like a tool. This is crazy stuff, right? When you imagine, a couple years ago, to get to this, you'd spend, a few $1,000, maybe more than a few thousand, right? And you'd get, a few months of development almost, right? I mean, maybe not exactly this, but it was painful, right? So I really like this. Let's see. AI training ROI calculator. Estimate the return on investment of your training. That's cool. Training cost, expected benefits, results, personal cost, average hourly rate, training hours per employee, software licenses. That's cool. Hardware and cloud cost, external training cost, expected benefits and savings. That's really cool. Any number of salary, revenue impact, new revenue opportunity, cost reduction, quality. Okay, I think this is going to calculate that, right? I think that you can't use it here because this is just a preview, right? So here we go. So, but on the left side, by the way, this is a very new preview they have. They used to not have this. This is really cool. I think they launched this preview a couple of days ago, which is really awesome. A professional AI training ROI calculator. As you can see, it's already telling me the features, right? So multi-step input, okay. Cost calculation engine, yeah. ROI calculator, payback periods, ROI percent, summary report, form validation, results visual with charts or progress indicator. That's perfect. And then it's giving you that later, right? So it's giving you after that you can add industry-specific ROI benchmarks, implement scenario comparisons, add data export functionalities. That's really cool, right? Okay, so I'm happy. Or if not, you could keep chatting, right? You could change this plan, right? So you could say, hey, I don't want these features, I want more of these features, and so on, right? But I really love this plan, so I'm gonna approve plan and start. All right, so here we go. We've approved the plan and we've started. Right. So as you can see on the left side now, it's the agent, right, is going to start tackling those tasks after the initial version, right, the later ones. And right now we're building this initial version. Okay, so it's coding, by the way, at the same time, right? So it's coding at the same time. So what you'll see if you open up these files, you can see the green files, right? They're being created at the moment, right? So this agent, right? This Replit agent is building these files as we go. It's by the way, it's built the whole folder, it's built the whole structure, it's creating all these files, right? It's creating all these tech files, right? So these coding files, right? These files of like lots of code inside, which if you're Cody, right? So Cody, I don't know. If you're a developer or understand all these things, you can open it up. You can start seeing the things that it's doing, right? Here you go. It's built all this, right? This is the tailwind. This is all the Vites, right? This is all it's building all this live, by the way, right? So this is active at the moment. So let's close that. Let's say that we're not Cody, right? So we're not techie, right? So we close that for now. We're just gonna continue on the chat window, right? Okay, you can see all these files are being created, right? So this is really cool. On the right side, we have our application already, right? So we have an application, right? We can already start inputting in a second. I think we need to let it finish because it's still a visual preview. And then we're going to be able to input stuff, right? So I start with Replit most of the time. Again, I repeat, why do I start with Replit? As you can see, starts the folders, it starts the whole front end, it starts the back end, it starts everything, connects them together. It can also create the database. So next we'll create the database. Okay, if we want a database, right? We might want to keep these results, right? So one thing that I'll do potentially is I'll create a database to keep these results with a potential little form, right? Saying something like, download your analysis, right? If people want to download their analysis, I might ask for their first name, last name, company email, something like that, right? So that I get some leads. Okay. All right, so we're building like a lead magnet, right? But a tool that is going to use, right? So this download full report, maybe we put it so that if they click download full report, boom, it says, well, if you want to download your report, you need to give me your email address, right? So we definitely should do that in a second. So what's cool is done all the stuff. And as you can see, it's already even wanted to create a database, right? Let's see. Right, so now I'm being charged. This is the first time I'm being charged since we started. So I got charged 0.38 cents, right? It worked about 5 minutes. It took 40 actions. It's already created 1,068 lines of code, and it's costed me 38 cents. Madness, right? Absolute madness. And now it's going to actually launch the full app, okay? So now my app is let's close this a little bit. Can we close this? Let's close the later. Later is closed. All right, cool. Okay, let's show less here so that we're a bit cleaner. Right. I've built a professional AI training ROI calculator with the following features: step-by-step input forms for training cost and benefits, real-time ROI calculations, and blah blah blah. Right. Beautiful stuff, right? How does the overall layout and functionality feel? Let's check it out. Right. Let's say that we're training a company of 92 people. Right. As you can see, 92. The software license they're gonna get for 92 people. Let me do a quick calculation. Right, we're going for ChatGPT very quickly. It's gonna be about $2,760. Right, that's actually a month. So maybe I need to clarify it here if it's yearly or not, right, or monthly. I think it's cool. We keep monthly. Average hourly rate for these employees, I think, is about $35. Hardware cloud cost, I think we're gonna put 0, right? For now. Can I put a 0? No, I can't. I can leave it empty. Training hours per employee. A month, we're gonna get about 1 hour a week, 4 hours, some 2 hours practice, 3, 6, 9, 12 hours, let's say. So we're gonna have 12 hours. Okay, external training costs and our programs, let's say for 92 people, is about close to 50K, so 48,000, let's say, right? Okay. Productivity increase 25 is great. I see that we can even do about 40 if we want, but let's stay at 25. That's a good benchmark. New revenue opportunities, this is a tough one, so maybe I'd remove this later, but it's okay. I could say that, yeah, they're gonna get, because of the time saved, they're gonna work on some other deals, and they might get another 250K of new revenue opportunities. Annual employee salary, okay, I think that's a little bit high. Let's bring that down a little bit. Cost reduction in dollars, right? So expect benefit and savings. I think this is getting, like, I would have wanted this to be calculated, right? But let's keep it at 75,000 for now, so we can change these things. Process automation center, let's keep these. Let's click on calculate ROI, right? It's already had calculated anyways, right? And then on the right side, we get to our results, right? Investment summary. So the total personal cost is this, infrastructure is that, right? So I think it's calculating yearly, that's fine. And then ROI analysis, return on investment is about 482%, months to break even, annual savings, 3-year projection, and so on. So download full report. I actually clicked it and it did. Let me see. On my computer, yeah, I got a little txt file. It looks ugly. It's just a txt file with some text, but it works. Okay, that's awesome. So this works. Okay. So if I wanted to do some extra stuff on this, which I really want to do a lot of extra stuff, right? But what I'm going to do first is I'm going to make sure that I have a database, right? So I'm going to go see if I have a database. No, I don't have a database. That's great. I'm going to say create a database to keep the calculations made on the site, and also add a way to get information for contact when someone wants to download their report, right? Okay, so like first name, last name, company email address, right? Maybe company URL, right? Some simple stuff, okay? And maybe a little checkbox if they want to be contacted for AI, corporate AI training, right? Corporate AI training, okay? And I'm even gonna say brand in certain places as it's a tool from AI operator, right? So that's our tool, aioperator.com, aioperator.com, all right? So I'm giving that, I'm saying to create a database as well. So it should take this now and it should start thinking about it as the agent, right? It's going to say, okay, I need to create a database. I need to add this form so that when people download it, I get their first name, last name, and so on. As you can see, right away, it's launched the database feature. All right, so we're waiting a second, but it's launched the database feature already. So you'll see that now the database feature is active, right? It's building some SQL databases powered by Neon, so it's outside Replit, but Replit uses this in the inside, which is great because you don't have to think about SQL databases and how to build a database in the backend for to run your application, right? To remember things, to store things, and so on. So let's come back here in our preview, right? This is being all built. As you can see on the left, we've done the database, we've updated the database schema. Now I need to create a database implementation. Let me check the current storage, blah blah blah, right? So this is doing the work, right? This is incredible stuff, by the way, right? I mean, you saw how quick it was to get here, right? And then now we're building really the database to make sure that all that information that people enter, and they click calculate ROI, let's say, it's stored, right? And also we're making so that if people say download full report, it pops up a box hopefully and asks you for your details before it gives you the allowance, right, of being allowed, to download the report, okay? Because that's why it's going to be a lead magnet, right? Okay. So Riona, hello. We said hi to Giles. We said hi to Sarah. Anyone on the comments? Hello. Thank you very much for your comments. We love them. All right. So what is done now is build those stuff. Okay. It's pushed it, as you can see. So that means that it's updated the code base and so on. And now it's restarting the application. And in the meantime, it's creating the contact form dialog, the updating the calculator page to integrate the contact form that I've been mentioning, right? It had an error, by the way. Let me fix the API request. As you can see, it had some little error potentially. It's removed this line of code. So anything red, it's what we call diff. So it's removing the red, is adding the green lines, right? So it's removed one line of code, it's added 5 lines of code. Okay, do we need to really understand these? No, but you get curious after a while. When you vibe code, you really get curious slowly and you want to learn all the stuff because it's really, really cool, right? Okay, so that's cool. We have a database. Let's check if we have our database structure a little bit. Right, let's go my data. We'll see if we have a bit of a, yeah, we have calculation sessions, ROI contacts, okay, and users. That's cool. So it's created three little tables in this database, okay. It's connected, right? Yeah, as you can see, calculation sessions, IDs, ROI contact IDs, user IDs, sequences. That's cool. All right, so we got 3 tables, 3 sequences. That's awesome. So do we sign into a database or we prompt one? You just prompt one, Carl. You don't even have to sign into a database. It just does it, right? So if you say create a database, it creates a database, right? So when you have your front end and you're like, oh, this is cool. I like this this MVP, and now I need to create a database. You say create a database. So this is why I love Replit, because you can create a database, right? Also, Lovable can do that, which I can show later maybe. But Replit does a really good job at creating the database, creating the application, and creating the authorization method. So if you wanted to sign up, log in, and so on, they have a auth method, authorization method, and it can create all this stuff itself, right? Which is awesome. But if you have an idea of like, I want to use this type of database, I want to use this type of authorization method, I want to use this type of different frameworks and so on. It can download them, right? It can download any dependencies, as they say, right? Why? Because it has access to online. It knows all the dependencies. It can download them and it can use them in the application. It's mind blowing. So if you wanted to build a Google Maps API and you wanted to have some Google Maps stuff, you could just say, hey, go and get Google Maps API, make sure blah blah, blah, and it does it, right? You might want to go get an API key, but with the database you don't need that, right? So the database is already included and is powered by Neon inside Replit, right? It's just mind-blowing stuff if you think about it, right? I remember I worked in high-tech companies for many years, and 10 years ago, to get to just this, I mean, to have a database, to have all these calculations, to have a report that is downloadable without errors, I mean, that took time, right? That took a lot of time. Yeah. Yes, other ones can it do that? Which ones? Oof, I don't understand that, Carl. Sorry, could you clarify that? Yes, other ones can it do that? Which ones? Lovable can do it. Which other apps? Okay, my marketing. Thank you. So Lovable can do that. So in Lovable, like I just built this the other day. This was really quick build as well, right? So I said here, build me a training portal so that we put our resources after our training sessions, and it's built the whole thing. And here it has something called Superbase, right? So if I click on Manage Superbase, you can see the Superbase is also a database provider, and it provides it for Lovable, right? The difference here is that it wants you to create a Superbase account. You don't have to do anything technical. You just have to sign up, log in, have a Superbase account, and it integrates them automatically, and then it can create the a database inside. You also say it here somewhere. I said, create the database, right? Somewhere I would have to find it, but I said, create the database, and it created. Here you go, run database SQL scripts. It created it, and then I had a Superbase database behind it as well, right? So a lot of them can do this actually, right? But I think if you're a beginner, right? If you're a beginner, I think that the best ones are Replit and Lovable to create that, right? Google Studio can't really create a database, but Firebase can, right? So Google AI Studio is actually, you can use Google AI Studio, right? Great questions, by the way, Carl. Well done. So Google AI Studio, you can play around with it, you can build stuff, right? It can kind of create the idea of the database, but you'd have to then move it to Firebase, right? So actually, Google AI Studio is more of a play. It's like practice, learn, and stuff like that. And Firebase Studio is actually where you can do all that stuff from Google, right? So Firebase Studio is really good as well. I have a video about it, by the way, on my YouTube channel. So maybe we should drop my YouTube channel onto on the comments somewhere, guys. Yeah, and then you can check out my YouTube channel for that. Let's get back to what we were doing, right? So we're here. Okay, it's telling me, yeah, watch videos about the latest AI updates on Tim Checker's YouTube channel and my YouTube channel. Please do that. Subscribe, like, we love it. It supports us so much, right? Because we have a mission of helping you all learn AI, right? So let's see if I click download full report. Oh yeah, here we go. It's built that, right? So we wanted this contact form. So now if you want to download your ROI report, it asks first name, last name, company email, company website, and we ask for a checkbox, right? Interest in corporate AI training, powered by AI operator. If I put all my details and I put down a report, I will get my report. The report right now is an ugly TXT file, right? But we can work on that later. Right, this is really cool, right? So, like, how long? It's been 30 minutes, not even, because I spoke 5 to 10 minutes of it. We have our AI Training ROI Calculator, right? It looks okay. There are a few things I don't like. It maybe the page looks a bit daunting that it's all in one page, right? So I could separate it a little bit. But also, if you're interested about this type of stuff, we have guides, we have news, we have a lot of stuff on my newsletter. It's every Wednesday. It's free. It's in your here we go. There's a QR code. Sign up. It's the AI Operator Weekly. Share it with others. It's completely free. It's delivered every Wednesday to your inbox as well, right? So newsletter, YouTube, LinkedIn, wherever you want. We're doing our best to create the best content for you guys. Okay, but we're not doing this to create content. Actually, we're doing this because we do the actual work. We work with clients, right? I and my team, we train some of the biggest companies in the world and some medium-sized companies. We train them. We have a corporate AI training program, a 12-week AI first mindset training program, right? And we train all these people, and we have so much fun that we want to create all this content. And when we're creating this content, we learn ourselves so that we can go and train these companies. So we make our money from training these big companies or medium companies as well. And then we want to bring you the best free content just to help you all learn. And also, of course, this generates leads for us, because founders that come and see the things that we can do, they're like, can I get my team trained on it, right? So that's our mission, is to create 1 million people that are AI operators, right? That can create AI tools, use AI, reduce the boring work and stuff like that. That's really our mission. So I'm quite happy with this, right? I mean, I could do more on the pages and stuff, but I want to show you my process, right? So I've created this. I'm happy with this, right? So I'm gonna do some other little edits and details and stuff. There are a few ways to do this. Here I can click on plus and I can go on assistant, right? Assistant is kind of similar. Kind of similar with as the agent, but it's better for many things, right? Assistant works best for users comfortable with file management and basic troubleshooting, right? So that's why agent is a bit better maybe, but I like it because here I can actually select and say, I don't like, if I click this, as you can see, card, I don't like this box. I want this box to be whatever, right? So I can do this. I can really target specific things. The agent is a little bit more, it goes and it does a lot of things, which is great when you're first starting, when you're creating a whole feature, when you're doing new things, is great. But when you want to really tweak things, like if I wanted to tweak all these three things and I wanted a different color, I wanted to do it in a different way, things like that, then the assistant is really good because I can really target it, right? I can really target it. All right, cool. Yeah. So what we do is, now what I do usually, typically, I have my app, is working, I'm happy with it. It could be even launched. I could actually launch this, right? So if you wanted to launch it right away, you can come to deployments, which is awesome, because you can automatically deploy from here as well. And this is why I think Replit is very powerful, right? Database, front end, back end, authorization method, deployment, everything is in one, right? But I'm not going to deploy it yet. What I'm going to do is I'm going to call in GitHub. That's where developers use repositories, code repositories. And as you can see, I don't have one yet. So I'm going to click on settings, and I don't have a remote URL yet, but I'm going to create one, right? And I'm going to call this my AI investment calculator, as it says on the tin, right? Where does AI investment calculator, right? Cool. And I'm going to create a repository on my GitHub, right? So I've created already. So now on github.com/this URL. So if I open this actually to show you, right? So let's open that URL. So now I have my GitHub, right? So that means that I can push code here, right? So all my code can come in here and I can push it, and I can have different things that happens on here. Okay. So this is really cool. Yeah, so it hasn't completely created yet, but is creating it at the moment, is indexing it. So we have to push actually. So we created it, we didn't push the code yet. Okay, so we'll show you that in a second, because that's going to be my next step. So I've created my repo. So I have integrated my repo to my build inside Replit, right? In this way, I can come back to this, right? To the Git, I can confirm my credentials, my GitHub credentials, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to push my first branch, right? So I'm going to push this whole code, this whole application into that online environment, which is GitHub, right? So that's pushed now to my GitHub. Okay. So now if I come back to my GitHub, hopefully this is not the one here. If I refresh this, right, here we go. All right, I have my AI investment calculator, right? And I have the whole code is in here. I don't have a README file yet, but my whole code is here. Why am I doing this? It's private. I don't work with other developers. I'm doing this because I want to use different tools now, right? So I don't have to just use Replit, because Replit can be expensive, Carl, right? It's great at launching it. It's great at starting things, because it would be much more expensive for me to try to get a database and stuff because of my time, right? If you have time, great, right? You can sort this out on a coding platform for free almost, right? But I don't have that time, right? So what I do is I create it on Replit, I push it to my GitHub. Now I have it on GitHub, right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of leave this environment, all right? And what I'm going to show you now is the next tool that I usually typically will use, okay? Now this is my new one that I absolutely adore, right? So I'm going to use, this gets a bit scarier, yeah? Okay. So I'm going to use my Claude Code. But one mistake that I haven't done that nobody's telling me is to do my to be able to get my code right inside my computer. I'm going to have to pull in that code to make sure that I have a clone right of the repository in my local environment, right? So that means I need to have that inside my computer, right, so that I can access it. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to come to add. I'm going to say clone repository, right? This is a GitHub Desktop app, okay? So we push it to GitHub, remember? So it's online, it's on the cloud, right? But now I want a version of it on my computer, right? And as you can see, as the second repo here, I already have it, is my investment calculator. I have in my documents, I have a folder called build, and I put all my folders of my repositories there, right? So I'm going to clone this, okay? If anyone, by the way, you have any questions, you know, you're a bit lost and stuff like that, please do ask, right? I might be going fast, I might be going slow, I don't know, right? So basically, what I've done now is this AI investment calculator. As you can see, it's inside my laptop. It's on Tim Chucker Documents Build AI Investment Calculator, right? So now this is inside my computer, which is great, right? Why? Because I'm going to use another tool that is much more cost effective, all right? So I'm going to show you that now. I mean, much more cost effective is, you know, so Claude Code, yeah? So Claude Code, why is it not showing my Claude Code? Let me stop the screen share. Let me start again. 1 second, guys. All right, so show this. Yeah. All right, cool. So Claude Code, it's Anthropic's CLI, command line interface, right? It looks a bit daunting and scary. Why? Because it runs in your computer. It runs in your terminal, right? And terminals can be scary. And I'm not technical, guys, right? I'm saying that, but I look technical now. But you know, like if you asked me this a couple months ago, I had no clue, right? And you know, just learned it on the go, you know, by making a mistake. So in the terminal, you know, I have access to my computer, so I know that I need to first go to my documents folder, right? So I'm in my document folder. These are things you can learn on ChatGPT. This I'm not going to teach you all this stuff, but you can learn commands, right? Terminal commands, CDs to open folders, right? And I'm going to open my build folder, and you can do tab to get to it quickly. And then here I can do LS, which is to list things. And what was the name of my? It was AI investment calculator. So I'm going to open that folder, AI invest. Let's do this, AI invest, right? Tab. All right, so I've opened my AI investment calculator folder now inside my terminal. So that means that my terminal now is inside that folder. So now I have access to that folder, right? So now I'm going to do something very simple. I'm going to write Claude, and I'm going to enter it. And what happened, as you can see, I got a welcome to Claude, right? So now Claude Code, right? Welcome to Claude Code. So now I'm running Claude Code inside my terminal, inside my computer that has access to that folder, right? So we've created with Replit, right? We created some really cool stuff with Replit, as you've seen it. We pushed it to our GitHub, right? To our cloud environment. With GitHub Desktop, we pull the clone of that environment to make sure that we have a synced clone of it, right? Inside our computer. We opened our terminal. We've logged in to the folder. So we've gone inside that folder, right? And then we've opened Claude Code inside that folder, right? Awesome, cool, amazing. All right, so we're in it. We're here now. So yeah, I can tackle that question, but I mean, I have certain videos, but really downloading them is very easy. If you go to Claude Code, how to download, they have a whole little page, and it's very simple. You open your terminal, there they have a little snippet. You paste that snippet in there, and then Claude Code is on your computer. Just be careful. It's going to ask you API. It's going to cost a lot of money if you don't have a proper Claude Code plan or a Claude plan. If you want a Claude plan, you pay or $100 or $200 a month to have the max plans to kind of have unlimited. Or if not, you're going to pay cheaper plans, and but you can hit limits, right? So so these are all by the way, searchable on the internet. You just need to be a bit curious, right? So with Claude, one cool thing is that let me make this a bit bigger. Is now it has access to it. I'm just gonna do what I should supposed to do. You do a /init, which is to initialize a new Claude.md file with code-based documentation. So basically, what this is gonna do is gonna get Claude to look at my document, my folder of code and all that, and it's going to create a file, right? And MD is a markdown file, it's a documentation file, text file, right? It's going to create this file to say, what is this? Where is the code? Where is some different elements? How to do this project, right? So this helps the AI builders be able to read its own thing, right? So I'm just going to do this actually, and then you'll see what I mean, right? So we're going to do init, okay? So it's now analyzing my code base. All right. It's analyzing my code base. As you can see, you can read it on the tin. All right, I had already a little error, as you saw, but whoop, that's gone quickly. Right, it has errors, but it's so smart that it'll fix its own errors. Right, but what I want here is to first make the AI understand what this folder is, what this repository is, right? And that's what it's actually doing, right? So it's going through that, right? It's reading all these files, right? So you can actually do Control R, right, and start reading the things that it's gonna do, right? Control R to expand. What did not expand? Okay, it doesn't want to expand these, but you can see all these files if you wanted. It doesn't really want to show me these files. Yeah, so Control E, here we go. So you can see all the files that it's been reading, right? So it's reading all these things, right? It's been reading all my files that you saw that Replit's created these files. It's reading all these code, right? So it's going to continue doing this. I'm going to close it because it can look daunting and scary even more, right? Yeah. And now what you'll see is that in a second, it's going to create our file, our Claude.md file. Right, that Claude.md file is the text file, as I mentioned, that is going to explain this whole repository. All right, so it's creating all that. It takes a bit of time, right? In the meantime, let's look at some other stuff so that we don't get bored waiting for this machine. All right, I don't get bored because I love to read this stuff, right? But let me open up my Chrome browser again, and we can look at the things that we've had there, right? Here we go. Right, so I had prepared a few other things. So we've done this in Replit. We started the project in Replit. We created the database. We created a GitHub repository. We pushed it into that repository, right? Then we used GitHub, right? So we used our GitHub to make sure that that repo was there. Then we used the GitHub Desktop. We downloaded that repository. We created a clone of that repository in our computer. Then we opened terminal. Then we accessed that folder, and then we launched Claude Code. Yeah. So now, right, what I do typically in a bit, right, but right now we're working with Claude, is I have some other tools that I use as well, right? So I use Codex. Codex is a great tool. It's by ChatGPT, by OpenAI, right? It's great because it's very agentic, so you can launch parallel tasks into your code repository, and it can go and debug stuff. It can change stuff. It can help you improve performance. It can do so much stuff, right? And why do we do this GitHub stuff? Is because here again, if I come to environments and I create an environment, so creating an environment, it means that I want to tackle that repository again, right? So we have it on the cloud, right? So if I have it on the cloud, as you can see, AI investment calculator. So now I have that. Okay, so if I just create this, let's just create it. So now I've created also the same environment of that GitHub. I've created on Codex to have access to it, right? So now my Codex here, I can select my AI investment calculator, and I can let these these agents, right? These little parallel agents to go and do work, right? Which we'll do in a second. Hopefully, we'll have some time there, right? Okay, I'm going to show that in a second. In the meantime, there are a couple other things I wanted to show you, right? So by having this, you're empowering, as I mentioned, by having this GitHub stuff to use anywhere you want, right? So if you wanted to actually use Lovable, right? This Lovable, which is really cool as well, right? And yesterday they just launched their agent, right? Before it was like more assistant, it was one feature, one little thing, and so on, and you had to spend a bit of time keep repeating and keep messaging it, come in and stuff. And now yesterday they actually launched they launched their agent. So in here you can also actually import your GitHub stuff, right? So you could where was that, right? There's a way. I think they might have stopped it because of yesterday's announcements, but there's a way that you can actually bring your GitHub stuff, but they don't recommend that, I believe, if I remember correctly, right? But as you can see, here we go, we have our GitHub connected here as well, right? So they don't recommend it because they want you to create it with Lovable, right? Then you can push it to GitHub. Then it's synced dynamically, and then you can use other tools like we've been doing to go to GitHub. But we chose the place of starting with Replit, right? Because I think Replit is great. This is also quite good. I think, to be honest, actually UI wise, look wise, this is a little bit better, right? But I don't find it as technical as Replit, right? Replit has security features. Replit has a lot of features that Lovable, I think, doesn't have still, right? And I mean, they're getting huge very quickly as well, right? All these things work really well. So this is also a cool platform to use, right? But let's get back to our Claude Code, because some things has happened, by the way. In the meantime, it's finished it, right? So here we go. We're back on our Claude. Yeah, cool. So Claude has gone in, has created a file, create file, claude.md. This is what we wanted. And this file is a file for AI agents, right? This file provides guidance to Claude Code when working with code in this repository. It creates all this stuff, right? It's a development workflow. It explains the front end, the back end, right? The key architectural decisions. This is an important business context, database schema, right? All that stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I want to create this, right? So you can say yes, or you can say yes and don't ask again in this session. This is really up to your comfort level with AI, right? Okay. Some easy stuff like creating a .md file, I let it create it, right? I don't really mind, but sometimes you have to be careful. The things, you always check. It always asks you, actually, like most of the time it asks you, but it can go off the rails quite quickly. If it does, you can escape and you can stop it right away, and it's recommended in Claude Code to stop it if you see it's doing something you don't want. It's worse to let it finish and then try to fix it than just stop it right away when you realize it, and tell it what was the problem and redo it, kind of thing, right? So I love this, right? The file focus on the big picture and so on. So I'm gonna, why I love Claude Code is very smart, right? So I'm gonna do Shift Tab, and you can see it's switched on the bottom here. It's switched to plan mode, right? Right. So plan mode. Oh, I'm trying to zoom into there. I can't inside the terminal. So the green thing that says here, now it's on plan mode. Okay. So it was on, auto accept edits on, and now it's on plan mode. So now it's not going to create any code, but I want to create a plan now, right? So I'm going to say something like, and I'll do this quickly like this. Oh, does that work? No, it's not working. 1 second. Oh yeah, it was working. All right, so let's do this. I want you to go through the whole documentation and the code files and start planning the next steps to be able to launch this incredible lead magnet for my company. Check out the UI, the UX, check out the performance, and let's start creating a to-dos file so we can tackle this together. Also, the first page looks a little bit daunting because it's asking for too many things on the go. We might want to separate those steps, make it a bit easier for people to go through the steps, right? And then have a report that is, with charts and so on, but also a beautiful downloadable file. So it's creates a file right now, but it's not very pretty at all. Right. So now I'm going to stop that. That's actually, oh, here we go. That's so I spoke to my machine, right? And it's created this text, okay? And then I'm gonna send this to Claude Code while it's on plan mode. I feel like there hasn't been a live session where, or I'm allergic or I'm sick. Like I've been sick all week because of my son's. My son started a nursery, so yeah. Cool. Awesome. Last 10 minutes. Thank you for letting me know. My head of marketing there is like, shh, careful. Right. So that's cool. We'll see this plan at least, right? We'll see a bit of Claude Code, and then we'll talk about, you know, how we got here again, like just to recap a little bit. And I can also suggest a few ways that you can build stuff, right? I think that's important. And in the meantime, while we're waiting for this, don't forget I create YouTube videos. I think it's 2 videos a week, Wednesdays and Saturdays, right? We tackle vibe coding, we tackle ChatGPT, we tackle Claude, we tackle anything literally, right? Anything that I'm excited about, that I believe you guys will be excited about. We tackle those things on the YouTube, and also the newsletter every Wednesday. Right, I think there's a QR codes coming for the newsletter, and every Wednesday, the newsletter comes to your email address. It's free, and we don't try to spam you or use your data. Right, just sign up to that. Share it with friends, invite colleagues and family, and so on. Right, we have a mission to help you all with AI. That's it. That's what we do. Okay, cool. So let's come back to our Claude Code because I think it's going to be almost there, right? So what it's doing, as you can see, it's analyzing the UI and the UX and the current state. Let me see if I can make it a little bit bigger. Does that make it a bit bigger? Not sure. Yeah, kinda. But I think with Restream doesn't really help. Yeah, that's a bit bigger, isn't it? I hope so. Let's see if I can get like this. That's bad. It's difficult with these streamers. Here we go. That's better, right? So as you can see, right, it's analyzing the UI UX because we asked it to, right? And it's reading, all the lines, all the code. It's reading everything that it finds inside because I said for it to go and read all these things and look at the folder, look at the code, look at the documentation, and let's create a plan, a project, a to-dos file together, right? So hopefully here we go. We're ready, right? So I'm gonna go to the beginning of this message. So Claude plan, right? So here's Claude's plan: AI investment calculator improvement plan. That's great. Based on my analysis, here's a comprehensive plan to enhance the calculator. I love that these coding agents and stuff, they give these week 1, week 2, week 2, week 3, like they give its timeline. It's crazy. This is definitely hallucinations, because I mean I can get this. How many weeks of work is here? 4 weeks of work. I can get this work in 40 minutes, right? I don't understand why it says weeks, but it's hilarious because I can get this in 40 minutes. Literally in 40 minutes, I can get you to do the whole 4 week of stuff, right? So add input validation, implement calculation, memorization. Okay, is that memorization or maybe something else to improve? I think this is some technical term. Add sensitivity analysis, show how changes affect ROI, include confidence intervals, best worst case scenario. That's cool. Data visualization, ROI timeline charts, cost breakdown pie charts, 3-year benefit projection bar chart, compare. Oh, this is getting really cool, by the way, right? Multi-step wizard option, right? So it's going to break it down to step-by-step wizard. Lead generation conversion, implement PDF report generation with charts, right? So memoization is a powerful optimization technique in programming where the results of expensive function calls are stored, cached to avoid recomputation when the same inputs occur again. Thank you very much. In the back end, my team is helping me. So thank you very much for that. Right. So we learned something new, memoization. Right. So lead generation, conversion, performance and UX, analytics and growth. Right. So I love this. You can say no, keep planning, and you can add more stuff. Right. Or you can say go build. Right. So I can say just yes. And some stuff happens. This is because I use iTerm too. I don't use the terminal. It gets a little bit buggy. It's gonna fix itself in a second, right? It'll fix itself in a second. Yeah. Hopefully you don't have epilepsy, right? Because here we go, right? Here we go. That's fixed it, right? So Now it's creating a detailed to-do list and track all these improvements. So now it's going to go and start coding all this stuff, by the way, right? And when I finish all these tasks here and I'm happy with them, I'll say commit, right? It'll create a commit file, means that it's going to commit to that code. And then I'll say push. And then when it pushes, it's basically going to push that to that GitHub repository that we have, right? We have a clone of it on the computer, which we're working on now, right? We're going to push it back to the cloud, all the updates, all the latest, greatest things that we just built. We're going to push it to the cloud so that we can go back to Replit, or we can go to Codex, or we can go to other applications and access from the cloud the latest files and folders and all the code that we've created, right? Okay. So, in a nutshell, that's how I code. I mean, I'm going to say it's not rocket science. It's not very rocket science. It's fun. I know it's a lot, right? But you get there very quickly. I'm not an engineer, right? I'll explain what I've done, but I had promised some other tools, but let's not go in there because I think this is enough for today. And what we'll do is we'll create some of these more videos, live sessions. If you love the vibe coding stuff, hit us up, say we want to see more vibe coding, right? And I'll be happy because I absolutely adore this stuff these days, right? So what we've done is very simple. We went to replit.com, right? We love Replit. We gave a little bit of a sentence to Replit saying what we wanted to build. Replit has an AI prompt enhancer, right? If I wanted to spend the time myself to do it properly, I potentially, as I mentioned, I would to go to ChatGPT. I would create a PRD, a product requirements document, right? Then I would bring that into Replit, okay? And then we pushed on Replit, and then Replit showed us a bit of a plan, a bit of a preview, and said, hey, this is the plan I'm going to do. Are you happy with that, right? We could have said, no, I'm not happy. We don't want it like this. We don't want this technology, if you know about all the frameworks and stuff like that. But we were happy with it because I have no clue what I'm doing, almost, right? We were happy with it, so we launched it. We said, all right, great, go build that, right? It built that. We got the application. It was alive, right? We saw it, and we can still see the application. It's great. I mean, I'm super happy with the first version, but with the Claude Code stuff later, it's going to be even better, right? I know that, right? So we got this application, works. We tested a bunch of stuff. It works really nicely, right? And then we were like, okay, great, but we need a database to store all this information, because also we want to make sure that if somebody clicks download full report, it doesn't just give you for free. I mean, it's free, but we want to get your contact details, and we want to see if you're interested in it, right? In corporate AI training, so that we can say, hey, we saw your interest in this, right? Okay. So we added all that stuff. We added a database to get all this information. So we said, hey, add database, and then it added a database, right? It did it itself, right? The agent did it, right? Which was really cool, right? And then we're like, okay, well, we're in a great place, right? And we wanted to get out of Replit a little bit because we want to use some other powerful technologies, right? And there's many other powerful technologies that we saw, like Claude Code, right? So to get to those powerful technologies, what we did then is we created a GitHub, right? So we created the repository on GitHub, and then we pushed our first version, right? So we pushed our first version there, and then we went to GitHub. We made sure that we had our repository working on GitHub, right? Which was important for us. Okay, so we went to GitHub and we said, all right. My repo is here now, which is great. Okay, and then we went to GitHub Desktop on my computer so that I could clone the repository into my computer. Okay, so that I have a folder that has all those code files in my computer. Because if I want to do something locally, I want to edit stuff. I want to use Claude Code with a terminal. If I want to use any CLI tool, like there is Gemini CLI tool now. Gemini has a new command line interface tool, right? If you want to use that as well, you have to have the repository inside your computer, right? So we pulled that file, we cloned that file, sorry, right, that folder. And then what we did is after that, we went onto our terminal, right? And we launched our terminal. And what we did with our terminal is we went to that folder, we found that folder, we opened that folder. Basically, we allowed terminal to be inside that folder to start taking actions inside that folder. And then we invited Claude Code. We said, Claude, come here, buddy. Come and help us, right? Why did it kick out my thing? And then we allowed we allowed Claude to come to that folder. I don't know why this kicked me out again. But anyways, so then we allowed Claude, as mentioned. So Claude then came into my folder and started working with me, right? And then we said, create a claude.md file because that's what it wants. It created that, and then we were happy with that. And then we asked it to help us create a to-do list, right, of what to do, because it's very smart, right? It's smarter than me in development, that's for sure, in many things, by the way, right? I seem smart, I'm not that smart, or I'm smart, I'm smarter now because of AI. Like, together we're extra smart, right? And then I created this to-do file, and then it created this whole list of things that it should do. And then I said, well, get on with the job, mate. Don't bother me, right? And I let it start building, and now it's building. It keeps building, right? So it's gonna go. It's already finished the first 3 tasks. It's working on the other next tasks, right? In about 20 minutes, 30 minutes, right? Maybe even less. This is all gonna be finished, right? And then I'm going to push it, and I'm going to have the latest version, and I'm going to go to Replit, and I'm going to pull the latest updates to Replit, because that's where I'm hosting, and I'm going to deploy it from Replit. And then I'll deploy it from Replit. I'll put it on my domain, and I'll put it on something like aioperator.com/something, or on a subdomain of AI Operator, right? And then I have a tool, right? Sometimes you have to give it like certain permissions because you want to do some stuff that is like, hey, I'm unsure, can you allow me to do it or not? And then we've vibe coded the whole application, right? Now it's giving you some permissions and stuff. But that's what we did. I mean, it's not rocket science, I'm going to say, but it's complex. Yeah, awesome. So cool. I mean, that's vibe coding 101, ladies and gentlemen. It's to really find your system. If it's to find your flow, I found my flow. Launch on Replit, send it to GitHub, pull it to Claude Code to my computer to clone it with GitHub, and then use Claude Code. Then I use Codex for little things, like for little bugs, little performances, because what I can do is I can fire 8 different little agents that does 8 different jobs, and then I can go come back in half an hour and all 8 jobs are finished. Wah, right? And then sometimes I use Windsurf, and that's because I'm really wanting to learn all this extra advanced coding stuff. But you don't have to, right? With Replit, you're gonna have enough. With Lovable, you're gonna have enough if you want to, right? But if you want to go a little bit the extra, the mid thing, then is to figure out how to use GitHub, figure out how to bring that into your computer, to use Claude or to use Windsurf, right? And some other ones like that, right? Yeah, that was really cool. That's it. That's it. Any questions? Anything? Thank you very much. Next week, we're doing master GPTs. How to master custom GPTs and projects in ChatGPT. Right. So Friday, 11th of July at 1 p.m. GMT, we'll be back live. Right. And in the meantime, if you want to see something, please, hit me up, or hit Andrea, our head of marketing, on AI Operators LinkedIn page. You can also send her a message. Right. Please sign up for the next event. We want these events to get bigger and bigger to help even more people. So scan the QR code if you want to learn more about custom GPTs and how to do them. Sign up to the events. We're aiming for every Friday at the same time, the same place. Thank you very much. This was Tim Checker, the AI operator, with Vibe Coding. It was really fun. Thanks. Have an awesome weekend. See you next week. Thanks.